Welcome to Ask the Pro. I'm your host and your coach, Chris Dufay, and this is where I'm going to give you what's needed to create the online business, the money, the freedom, and the life that you want. Now, in this episode, I bring on Regan Hillyer, which we are about to deep dive into your personal branding, creating a location-independent business so you have the freedom to work anywhere, and how you can create a seven-figure business doing what you love. We really delve into the main facts in which are going to give you the know-how on what actions you need to create to be able to have the success that you want. We're going to cover a lot of great things, and there are so many pearls of wisdom, so really get ready to absolutely take some notes and get ready to use what's about to happen. The whole point of what we're doing each and every episode is to give you what's needed to take action. Prime words, take action. Now, this episode is brought to you by My Body Blends and my favorite, the Superfood Elixir. So if you want the fuss-free and proven programs, the guides and products to transform your body and health, be sure to head on over to mybodyblends.com and tune into the My Body Blends podcast that I'm also bringing you every single Monday. Also, just for the quick insights, we are looking for 3 new top ambassadors. So if you are a health and fitness lover and you want to share that word and spread it, then make sure you do get in touch all over at mybodyblends.com. And if you're loving the Ask the Pro podcast, then make sure you subscribe to never miss a beat. There are so many great episodes ready in line to come for you. And make sure you click on over and give us the feedback. Leaving a review really does help put this into the earbuds of so many other entrepreneurs wanting to make the success. And this is what it's about. It's about creating a tribe of people, creating the lives and the businesses that are able to help people, give them what they need. And we're doing it, creating the success that we want unselfishly. No, to really get the most out of you being here with me right now, click on over to chrisdufay.com. That's chrisdufey.com. Right now, I've got the free guides and the training workshops that are coming straight out of the Pro Circle. So if you're wanting to either grow your following, if you either want to double or triple your clients, or if you want to start your online business, right now the coaching that's for free to show you the exact steps to take. So you need to head on over to chrisdufay.com/start here. That is where you can get it all to make sure I'm giving you the exact guides and the exact coaching steps that are going to suit you, your experience, where you're at with your business, and especially where you want to go as well. So don't be a peanut and miss out on that. All over at chrisdufay.com/start here. Now it's time to bring on Regan. This is an absolute brilliant episode, and I want you to make sure you delve into everything that's here. So get prepared. You might want to listen to this a couple of times, but you're really going to want to make notes on this, and I want to hear from you after this. So do get in touch via Facebook, Instagram, the social media platforms. You know they're plentiful and everywhere. Get in touch so we can give you more of what you needed. Let's bring it on. The gorgeous Regan Hillyer, thank you so much for coming onto the podcast. I'm pumped to get into this. Now, just before hitting record, we were obviously chatting about so many different tangents that we can take this interview on, and this episode is really going to go into something that I really believe entrepreneurs or people really wanting to take that leap need to go into, and I think you are the absolute perfect person to dive into this with. But before we jump into it all, I just want to say a massive thank you for taking the time out, Regan.
Oh, thank you so much for having me here, Chris. I'm really excited to dive deep with you and give everyone loads of value.
All right, I tell you what, maybe even before we start jumping into this first part, because I know I really want to start off with the personal branding side of things. Who is Regan and why are you so phenomenal?
So I am Regan and I run a pretty epic 7-figure plus location business, and I'm so phenomenal because I help people make a massive impact in this world, and I really get people into a place of alignment and get them into a place where they really just get paid for just being them, and that's a pretty cool thing to help people do.
I think this is like this is so what's needed, because I think if you talk to people about that haven't taken the leap or have started but really haven't found the traction of what's going on, they're kind of umming and ahhing and they're a bit confused about where you want to go. But you just said it right there, like getting paid for being new, like that's the most natural thing you can go about. So how do you help people do this?
Absolutely. So there's a lot of different ways. I have programs online where people do this, but also I run, high-end masterminds over in Bali. I work with people one-on-one. So there's a big scale of different products and services depending on how closely people want to work with me. But for me, it's all about firstly developing that brand and developing that message, getting people into alignment with not what is expected of them, but what they are actually called to do in this world. And then obviously taking that and launching that and getting them seen, because if you've got the most powerful message in the world but you're not seen, there's kind of no point really. So getting them actually out there, launching their brand, monetizing it straight away, and then obviously showing them how to accelerate it. How do we grow it? How do we scale it? How do we go really big with this?
Okay, you've just brought up so many points I want to cover, so this is absolutely out of this world. I'm loving this. Now, for the first thing, you're obviously talking about getting the right message, and I think this is so important, having the clarity on what that message is, and then obviously having the clarity on who that message is really going towards. How do you help people get to that point?
Well, look, absolutely. And it is a little bit of an in-depth process, but really, if you ask some quality questions, you'll be amazed at what answers people can actually come up with. So, I get people really into a space of, like I said before, figuring out what is it that you're actually called to do, what do you believe that you're put here to share with the world, versus what are you good at, or what do you, think you're expected to do or share, and getting them into this place where they realize that, oh man, that's actually just me.
What do you think the traps people fall into, thinking of what they should be doing or what's expected from them to be doing for when you work with people like this?
Yeah, look, there are many, but I think the biggest one is people think first and foremost that strategy is the most important, especially when it comes to online. They might go and do a whole lot of, courses and coaching around online strategy and business. And they're so consumed with how it's going to work and, how are we going to make money online? Like, what do I need to do? What do these funnels look like? Like, what are the steps? What are all the, the dots that we can join up together? And then their message gets a little bit lost in that, and they get to a point where they're rolling out these strategies and then they're trying to cram their message to fit into the strategies, which then whacks them out of alignment, which puts them in a place often where it just doesn't flow. And they might get some results, they might get a little bit of success, but ultimately it's not at the level they desire. And that's because they've focused on putting the strategy first. So I always say, look, one of the things has to come first. It's either the strategy or it's the message and alignment, and you have to choose. And that's a big thing that I turn people and flip their mindset around, is like, okay, let's get clear on the message and what you want to put out, and then once you're tapping into that space where it's so powerful and it's just you will figure out a way to get it out there. The strategy will come second. I'm
so with this, and I think this is where we really vibe, you and I, with where we're trying to go in, especially the people that we help as well, is because I feel like so many people are just, there's too much information out there, and it's kind of, I'm fighting fire with this kind of situation, because obviously I want to share these episodes and these conversations that we can have, but one of the biggest problems is just there's an information overload out there, especially when people start delving into the whole like online marketing aspect, and there's so many people teaching like online marketing, but the way they make their money was like teaching online marketing. So it's like you haven't earned your chops to kind of get to the point. It's a little bit confusing when it goes about there. What would kind of like the biggest obstacles you're finding people have when they're trying to get past that point of, okay, they got the messaging and now how do I start executing?
Yeah, look, I think one of the biggest obstacles is a mindset battle, and I think it's fear. I see it a lot in people that they get to this point and they're like, this is my message. I'm so passionate about it. This is what I've put here to share with the world. And then they kind of freak out, because it means then stepping into quite a vulnerable place, to be honest, of being them, being unapologetically them, and really stepping into this zone of standing in their power and in their message. And it's a scary thing to do, because because you feel a little bit like a lone wolf, and you feel like a little bit like you're breaking the rules of online marketing, or even marketing full stop. And the people that manage to overcome that fear and learn to dance with it and move forward anyway, those are the people that are successful, versus people that then get caught in the fear and then they don't take action and move forward.
Beautiful. I think you said that really well. Is obviously the people that are just making it happen is you're just constantly pulling the trigger, and it's kind of like you're pivoting at each point you can kind of learn from.
Yes.
We're going to take a quick break and we'll be back in a split with so much more for you. Now, I know you're listening and tuning in because you know how important your health is and how this can also catapult your business. This is why I'm very happy to say that this podcast is sponsored by My Body Blends and my favorite, the Superfood Elixir, the powerful greens drink. Now, this is designed specially to boost energy, aids detoxification, enhances the ability to burn fat, supports healthy carbohydrate metabolism, and best of all, is voted best tasting greens drink. Now, myself and the My Body Blends team are looking for ambassadors to join, so you and your clients get the health benefits plus adding in a strong income stream for you and your business. The ambassador program, which is by application only, means you get exclusive access to sell My Body Blends products like Superfood Elixir to your clients, plus giving you the special ambassador pricing and bonuses. So once you become an ambassador, you can join the other top health and fitness players that are adding thousands to their week's income. Now, there is only a limited number of ambassadors we are taking on board, as this is a tribe leading the way together. So to apply and to join, go to mybodyblend.com/ambassador, or add the checkout code that is TurningPro, all one word, when you're going to get your own Superfood Elixir to order. Plus, you're going to get free shipping and a bonus to save yourself over $250 instantly. So just use that coupon code TurningPro in the checkout and you can save over $250 right now, all on mybodyblend.com.
Okay, now you brought up mindset, and this is something I really want to dive in with you. And that I think especially when we talk about, you said before, like monetizing fast, and this is obviously something I really want people to understand that they can do, and it's not like this massive arduous process that they kind of have to drag their heels through until they can start making a dollar. How do you break through that mindset to help get people to the point where they're happy to actually sell? Because obviously that sell word can be a bit of a dirty word, which totally isn't, but how do you try and break through that?
Yeah, look, absolutely. And I agree with you. I see so many people getting caught up in that space where they're preparing to launch for like weeks or months or even years, and then they're not actually putting anything out into the world. Look, I think really it's about them owning their own value and getting totally clear on how freaking awesome they are. You know, I always say, people are always like, what do I charge? How does that work? I'm like, well, what do you want to charge? Like, what feels right for you? Because if you put out an offer with some sort of investment and you're not 100% sold on it, no one else is going to invest in you. So I always tell my guys, your first client is yourself, and you have to back yourself like 110%. So it's getting them to that place of total self-belief and really understanding their value and their worth. And the minute they hit that from a mindset perspective, it's amazing how many other people then get attracted to them purely because they then see the value that they're putting out to the world.
I think it's funny how, especially when I think people just subconsciously can easily pick up if someone isn't believing in what they're charging, if they're overcharged. There's something that comes through, even I think through like online sales copy, it kind of comes through to the point where you're like, I'm just not into it. Like, this person isn't really pushing the message or isn't making it click that well. So I think I'm totally on board with that. What about the mindset with going from, say, we've obviously gone past getting started. What about making the break for them to get now to the 7-figure business mark?
And it's a really valid point. It's said all the time that, the mindset that gets you to 6 figures, it's a different mindset that needs to happen for you to hit, multiple 6 figures or 7 figures. So it's really, it's really drumming down and having an awareness of where you are currently, and, centering in that gratitude and appreciating that. Like, even if you've just got your first client, you need to just get really, really aware of where you're at and be grateful for it. Secondly, for me, it's getting into the space of that next level and actually getting into the zone of having already received what it is that you desire. So, for example, if someone's doing 6 figures and they want to go to 7 figures, the mindset work around that, I'd be saying, okay, well, you need to start tapping into that place, daily, energetically, of what is that like. And I don't just mean the good stuff like, I'm earning 7 figures, I'm going to invest this much in my business and spend this money here. Like, everyone can write out the good stuff. I want to also know, what are the fears associated with that? Like, what are the things that you start self-sabotaging about? Like, what are the things you do which actually hold you back when you get to this level? Because our mind, basically, if it can't see what it's like at that level, it will go into freak out mode to keep you safe, and you'll stay in your comfort zone, and you'll either just self-sabotage or you just stay at the level you're at, basically. So I believe you need to give your mind this like full 360 kind of view of exactly what it's going to be like. And our thoughts create our reality. The moment that you step into actually creating that internally, you'll be surprised at how quick it can actually unfold.
I think it's so true, and it's funny how I actually just like re-listened to Psycho-Cybernetics, the book, and how it's just totally about that. And you obviously have to totally envision and believe and emotionally tap into what it's going to be like, so you can just naturally make the steps to get there.
Yes, absolutely.
What do you think are like the major fears of someone getting to that 7-figure mark? Because I see this all the time, the self-sabotage. It's obviously like, you see it all the time in the weight loss space, like people gorge themselves and, do you know what I mean, actually hamper their weight loss, and because there's a self-sabotage mechanism between getting to a better body and what's going to hold them there. What about with the actual business and the income side of things? What are they fearful of?
I think there's lots of things. On an unconscious level, they realize that when they hit that new level, they're going to have to give up some things in their life. And this is one of the big things where if you don't do the work, again, your unconscious mind will kind of just go, oh, that seems really scary, and keep you safe. And I don't mean, physical things that you have to give up, like time, for example. I'm talking even like, you might have to give up caring what your family think about you if you're going to break a new income level where they haven't broken that before, right? And until you actually drum down into those fears and, get really aware with them and acknowledge them for what they are, for trying to keep you safe, you can't move forward. So, there's a fear of success and everything that's going to happen there. There's also a fear of failure. Like, what if I get there and then I lose it all? Like, what happens then? And again, if you're not conditioning your mind to know like the worst case and the best case scenario and everything in between, you just won't move forward.
Another thing it's helped myself and a lot of clients as well, is the idea of, or just taking on the idea of, having new problems is a good thing. Like, when you start earning more money, you have new problems, and that's a good thing. You constantly want to be having different and new problems because it means you're making headway. And it's like, some people say, oh, you've got to pay more tax. And I was like, hey, the more tax I pay, the happier I am, because that means I'm making it like better amounts. Like, that's a really silly thing to say, and there's no rational thinking behind that.
Oh, I completely agree with you, though. And look, I always say you want bigger problems, you want quality problems. And at this new level, you are going to have more problems. And I feel like some people kind of think that when you become successful or really successful, your problems disappear, like, or, the mindset work needs to stop or something. I often get asked, oh, Regan, what's it like to not experience any fear in your business? And I'm like, what are you talking about? I still have fear. And they're like, oh, but you're doing so well. Like, surely there is no fear. And I'm like, no, there's fear. In fact, there's more fear, and it's bigger, and there's more self-doubt, and that's bigger too. And you're making bigger decisions, which have bigger consequences if you screw them up. So it's not that stuff goes away, but again, a mindset thing of how do you actually learn to deal with it, right? Successful people have massive problems, but it's how they choose to actually move through those problems that count.
Especially it's just the way you want to perceive what's going on. And I think that's something that's obviously, it's flowing through everything that you're saying right now. And obviously something that I find really interesting is at the start of every episode, I say quite usually, like, why do you think you're so phenomenal? And it was great what you said. Like, you jumped and leapt straight into saying, like, this is why, and you firmly believed it. Like, I understand why people say, oh, like, do you know what I mean? Like, I've got big expectations to live up to, or they make a bit of a laugh about it or something like that. Like, I get it, but I loved how you just jumped straight into it and you fully believed in it. Like, that's powerful right there.
Yeah, and you have to own your shit like that. And you know, I wasn't born like that. I've done a lot of work to get to that point. I also loved that you just asked that off the bat, because, you know, it is challenging to receive. And it's so funny, you know, everyone is so good at writing all the stuff that they're not good at, but it's really challenging for most people to actually own their stuff. And it comes down to a self-worth thing, and it's linked into money and success in your business. And, you know, if I always say that, you know, your net worth or your income is directly linked to your self-worth. So many people go externally and they try and like increase their income through strategy, or like by just working harder or taking more action or getting a new mentor, when really it's like, well, hang on, you actually need to go internally and work on yourself, and then you'll be surprised how everything shifts, from your health to your relationships to your business to your money to everything.
You just lit the roof up. I totally agree with that. First one, hashtag own your shit. I think that's a tweetable that we're going to have to rock out with that one. That was pretty good.
Yeah.
But obviously, like, your self-worth, I think so many people are like, okay, I want to earn more money. I want to have this success, but they don't believe. And this is kind of obviously just teeing straight into what we were talking about before. They don't believe that that's where they can get to. And that's really, they're just standing in their own way.
Yes, absolutely. And, you know, if that's you and you're listening in and you're going, oh my gosh, that is me, I don't think I believe in myself, you know, you need to go to work on that, and you need to work on it daily. You know, you need to write it into existence in terms of why you are worthy. You need to start speaking it into existence. You need to start getting awareness around what you're in resistance about. Like, what are the blocks? Like, why do you not believe that you're worthy, and what's causing that, and what is it linked to, and how can you acknowledge that and then move on? You know, you have to do the work around it.
Okay, this is absolutely brilliant. Now, another thing I really want to try and move into as well is something we're both really into, and that's obviously the location independent side of being able to design the business around what you want. And something I kind of always try and preach out is designing actually what you want to be able to achieve, and asking yourself the right questions to get to the right answer. So like for myself, it's like I want to do what I want, when I want, where I want, with whom I want, and obviously designing everything around that. You've obviously been able to do this really well. How have you kind of brought this to fruition?
Yeah, exactly by what you said, asking myself quality questions and getting really crystal clear on it. And here's the thing, if you leave stones unturned, and if you leave areas of your life where you're not clear on it, you might not be super happy with the result. And, you know, this is what I did years ago before I launched my business in a way where it was location free. And I was running a coaching and speaking and education company back in Australia. And it was amazing. And, I was really focused on like the impact I wanted to have, and the money I wanted to have, and the travel, and all of that stuff was good. Yet it was probably like 90% in alignment with what I actually wanted at my core, and this 10% was off. And the 10% for me was the lifestyle. Like, it wasn't location free. I'd built myself a really successful job, and I had to show up and travel and speak every single week. And although from the outside looking in, people were going, oh, this is amazing, you know, you're so successful, you have this great business, you know, deep down it wasn't satisfying for me, because, you know, that little bit was off. So you have to get totally clear on it, and understand and acknowledge as well that it can be an evolving process. You know, we're always growing as humans, and our values shift, and our needs and desires shift. So you kind of need to roll with the punches and continuously do the work to make sure that, you know, the space you're living into is what you want to create.
Now, when you're working with someone and they say, okay, like, I want to be location independent with my business, how do you help them design the actual business to get there, especially if they're starting off?
Absolutely. So we always start with the message and the alignment, like always. You know, if they're coming to me just saying, you know, I want to be location free, I want to make money online, and I ask them, you know, what do you want to do in this world? What's your message? What are you about? And then if they can't like tell me. It's different if they're like, I'm not sure, but I want to figure that out. But if they're literally like, no, Regan, I just want to make money online, I'm like, well, go chat to someone else. We're not a match. So the first thing for me is, getting really clear on figuring that out and then showing them how to actually start monetizing that message. So everything from breaking down how to start increasing their visibility, growing communities online, doing stuff offline that's going to help feed into that. And then obviously, making sure that they have some really amazing offers through products, through a full spectrum that they can offer from, low end online right through to high end to cater for everyone at both ends of the spectrum and everything in between. And then just getting them to take action. Like, that's the thing. You don't need to sit on this stuff for like months and months or years and like get ready to get ready. You actually learn so much just by taking action and just by stepping in and being okay to fail forward a little bit and understand and acknowledge that it's not going to be perfect, but it's so much better to actually just start getting your stuff out there.
I think it's so true. So many people are trying to, as you said, like getting ready to get ready, and you can't really do anything or learn, or you don't really know what it's like until you're in the trenches anyway, because then you finally know once you're in the firing line what needs to happen, because obviously as a sitting on the fence just doesn't get you anywhere at the end of the day.
Oh, look, that's exactly it. And I think, people look at what I do online and I think they think that it's really calculated and I've been planning it out for so long and then I launch and it's perfect. And it's not. When I launched, say, my first membership site, which is all around success mindset, and they get a weekly coaching video with all my powerful mindset stuff. And when I pre-launched that, I literally really had no idea what the concept was going to be. Like, I knew I could add value and I knew the main gist of it, but I was unsure at that stage whether it was going to be just mindset, whether it was going to be more business strategy, whether it was going to be a mix of both. And it wasn't until I started delivering the content and actually asking the community that had enrolled in that, hey, what is it that you guys actually need and want, where I made a decision. I was like, okay, this is just going to be mindset. So I was like, 4 weeks into delivering that product before I'd actually nailed that down. Whereas so many people would be so afraid to put something out there if it wasn't perfect. And that's the thing. It's like, it's that getting ready to get ready thing. You just got to get started. I
love how you said that, and it's so true. Like, everyone thinks like everyone else has got their shit together, and it's just like, no, not really. That's not the case. Like, I'll put my hand up, and I was like, from at the start of the year, I had 5 brands. I took one away, and now I'm actually taking another 2 away, and I'll only have 2 left. And it was constantly like, I feel like as I change as a person and what my passion and purpose has kind of moved and evolved into, obviously the business has to do the exact same thing to match. Otherwise, you're doing something you don't really enjoy.
Yeah, look, that's exactly it. And there's 2 kind of, I guess, successful people, categories of them, which I've met. And, one is like, sure, it is really structured and it's all really perfect and very strategized and, they're successful, they're doing well. But then there's the other side of the spectrum where it's kind of the opposite and they're honestly making it up as they go along. And those people are, from what I've seen, even more successful. And it's on such a higher scale because they're tapping into their creativity, they're listening to their audience, they're actually consciously moving through and making changes, just like you said, with dropping a couple of the brands, putting your focus elsewhere. You couldn't have, you don't have a crystal ball, right? You couldn't have seen that coming, but it obviously felt like the right thing to do in the moment. So, the strategy is important, but you can't get stuck in it. You have to be in tune and you've got to have that balance.
You said something that was golden there really quickly, and that was obviously listening to what the market was saying and listening to what your customers and clients are giving you back as feedback. That's the gold right there. Like, if you are truly listening to what people want, and I'm sure like when you launched your first membership site, people were coming back with, say, different questions or coming back with more feedback, and you're like, oh, well, this is evolving into something so much more than what I've originally thought, because that's happened to me every single time.
Yeah. Exactly. And look, I think some people get it that, especially around launching, you need to ask your community and ask what people want and what are their problems, and then have the offer around that. Like, I think people get that on that level mostly. But, I really take that a step further, where even when I'm delivering content, especially something where it's, continuous content like the membership site, every month and a half to 2 months, I post in the private group and I ask my community that are the paying clients now, I say, look, guys, what are you want to see more of in there?
Yeah.
What are your challenges right now? Like, what are your struggles? Like, what would you love to learn this week? And I get a stream of, I would love this, I want this, I would love this, oh my God, can I please have this? And then I go and create it. And then what that means is that my content updates weekly, and, you know, it's constantly in tune with their needs and desires, rather than actually just having them in the membership and then going, well, tough luck, you've got to just suck up my content now. Like, and that keeps it really, really relevant and in tune for the people that are in there.
I love that for two reasons. Obviously, one is you have a constant idea of what you need to create, so you're never out of ideas. You're never asking, oh, well, what am I going to do this week? And two, you're giving them exactly what they need. And like, especially kind of as a just-in-time type of learning, I think that's absolutely brilliant.
Absolutely. I think it's the only way to roll, especially if it's like fresh content every week or every month. You have to ask your community.
Okay, this is absolutely brilliant. Last question I want to roll with you. If you started all again, what was something that you would love to have known from the beginning that you now know?
Look, for me, if I went back to when I first started out in business, I would have loved to understand the concept around personal branding at a really deep level. You know, I spent years hiding behind brands and, you know, I guess doing what people expected me to do in some way. You know, I would kind of, I was hiding behind brands, basically, instead of stepping in and saying, look, I'm Regan Hillyer and this is what I'm about and this is what I stand for. I was delivering value through a brand. And it's a really slight difference, but I noticed it massively with my results, you know, financially, impact-wise, even just emotionally and fulfillment-wise. It was so much greater when I actually just got the courage to step into the light and go, do you know what, screw it, this is who I am and this is what I'm about, and it's Regan Hillyer. And it's such a small change, but I mean, man, if I'd done that years ago, I'd be in an even better place now. That
is a powerful takeaway for the listener to really sink in. Like, I just rewind and listen to that again, because that is golden right there. All right, now, Regan, the listeners going to be frothing at the mouth to wanting to learn more about you, everything that you're doing and how to see more. Where should they go?
Absolutely. So if they head to reganhillyer.com, you can subscribe to my updates there. I also have one of my books available for free download, Make Your Passion Your Paycheck, so you can grab your copy of that. And then obviously all of the social media platforms, I'm really active on all of them. They're all under my name, Regan Hillyer. So reach out, follow me on there, say hi, and let me know you've come through this podcast with Chris as well.
Fantastic. Now I'm going to link up to those in the show notes so you can click straight over. Regan, this has been absolutely golden. Now, I've really enjoyed this. I think we're going to have to do another one again soon. I'd love to hear back from the listener right now. What have you taken? Has this pushed your mindset? Have you taken some absolutely pearls of wisdom right now from what Regan has given you? And how are you going to act on this? I'd really love to hear the feedback on what you're going to really use from this, and also other questions that we might have even brought up as well. Regan, I'm looking forward to chatting with you soon. And as always, thank you so much for everything that you've just given.
Oh, you're more than welcome, Chris. You've asked some really amazing questions and not the standard ones that people usually ask me. So it's been really fun. Thanks for having me on.
So now it's time for you to click on over to chrisdufay.com. That's chrisdufey.com to get all the guides and show notes. And if you are wanting the workshops where I walk you through how to build your online business, click on over to chrisdufay.com/start here. This is where I can give you the exact training guides and the workshops for exactly where you're at and the answers that you need. Now, every Friday I'm coming back to you with a new episode. So be sure to subscribe, and if you haven't already, you're going to be getting the world's best insights, the advice and the answers to give you the business, the money, the freedom and the success and happiness that you want. And I want to give you a huge muchas gracias for being here with me. And as always, get in touch with me via the site or via social, as Ask the Pro is about me giving you the answers that you need. So ask away.